Hello everyone, and thank you for joining the session. It's an amazing event. My name is Peter Filipov and I'm presenting today for Sitefinity, and with me it's Scott. So let's go. Here you go. That's our agenda. I'm going to do a quick intro about Sitefinity and progress and quick intro of us, and then Scott is doing the whole magic about the demo and the stuff that he's going to show. I think that stuff, it's always interesting for the audience to see how things are working in action. So do you want to share? Let me see if this works. Yeah, Scott, do you want to introduce yourself?
Yeah, so I'm Scott. I'm one of the partners at Flywheel Strategic. We've been in the Sitefinity ecosystem for a very long time. We're one of the top partners in North America, a premier Sitefinity partner. Just recently entered the Znode ecosystem, and when we saw the product and the alignment with Sitefinity, we got very excited. And so we've been working on an integration between the two platforms, and we do have it at a point at which I can show it to a room full of people. It is in demo state. I was speaking to a room of 700 people a couple of days ago, and I am much more nervous right now to show a live demo than I was just talking to 700 people. So we'll see how it goes.
Yeah, I think that will be the fun part. So I'll try not to bore you with some facts about Sitefinity, but you see it in action. I've been with the company Progress for the past 13 years. I've been through different type of roles, from hardcore engineering to manager of engineers and different roles, and at the end I ended up as a product manager. Quite exciting what our platform can do. And my next slides are a little bit our company in general. Let me see if this is gonna work. Yeah, here you go.
There we go.
So first, I just want to give you some kind of a landscape about Sitefinity and how this fits into Progress. Maybe you have heard about the company. It's a big company. We have a lot of products, but basically how we are strategically aligned into a specific digital experience unit. Those type of products actually complement each other. Let me see if this is going to work. Oh, okay. No, my surprise. Okay, so this is the slide that I want to share and to start with. So if we look at this slide, we will see a lot of type of products that are here, different names, not only Sitefinity. I try to highlight Sitefinity just to give you a sense of what we can achieve with the product and some use cases. So we have seen almost everything with Sitefinity, from like web experiences that are not so complicated. People want to have websites, and we can go and serve them. But when it comes to, let's say, content insights and actually analyzing what people are doing, this is actually a case where we want to add something on top of Sitefinity. And our, let's say, CDP, which is called Sitefinity Insight, is helping to deliver such cases. So if you look here, let me see if this is going to work. Yeah, that stuff here. When we talk about content and insights and personalization, and in the previous sessions, a lot of people actually went through this. Hey, people are expecting now today. I think it's kind of something that people are like, okay, I have the data, I have the customers that are visiting, we just need to have their optimal experience. And actually this is what Sitefinity Insight is helping. And during the demo, Scott, I think, is going to touch on this, so I think you'll be quite excited to see how all of this works together, and especially, I'm sure, in the e-commerce side, this is quite important. We also have other complementary product into Progress, into our unit. We call it digital experience. We have developer tools when you need to develop web applications or something that is more complex, where you need to visualize data to charts, grids, etc. So our developer tools are helping. And we also have a rules-based engine, but I don't want to go deep into those different type of products. So this slide is just to get a sense about, hey, this is Progress, this is Sitefinity, they live into a specific unit, and we are trying to address the digital experience into different type of cases. But before I go and dive deep into Sitefinity and give you some details around it, I just want to ask you, who of you is following NFL and the football league in America? Okay, who's your favorite team? Okay, so that's what I suppose. That's mine as well. And I'll tell you a quick story about how they become my favorite team. In 2016, I moved to the US, and I heard a lot of my colleagues are talking about this team, and I was wondering what's going on, why they're talking about football, not about programming and kind of digital experiences and stuff. And what I found out is that recently Packers Everywhere, this is the fans website where you can find bars and people that kind of celebrate the team. It's actually done on Sitefinity. So if you have been on this website, yeah, I think we did a great job. And the next one is actually, Scott, I'll need your help. Yeah, that's Packers Perks. The portal actually is done in Sitefinity as well. So we've been very proud to support different brands through the years, and those guys are sticking us for the past almost 10 years. So we're quite happy to announce such kind of represents such cases in front of you. And in the next slides, we're going to talk more about them as well. Just to get on the next one about what actually Sitefinity as a platform look like. Oh my God!
Just tell me to click.
Yeah. Thank you, Scott. We can, just. So we target developers, we target marketers with our platform, and of course we need to have the technology stack in front of them, and they need to choose between, do they want to go, let's say, with .NET stack or with Next.js. So this is something that we support at the moment, and people can actually build their experiences with Sitefinity using the technology they love. So we don't want to limit them. Next one. Also, we have our integration hub, where actually you can hook up Sitefinity to different type of integrations where you need to bring data from different data sources. So it helps you actually to integrate with CRMs, DAMs, etc. If we go about hosting, we have it all. We started as on-premise, now we offer SaaS and PaaS, and we are handling the whole scalability for you. So everything depending on your needs, it's up there. So on top of those type of functionalities, we have multi-site and multilingual features, which are helping people to deal with different type of scenarios where they need to cover languages. I know that here in North America we are kind of limited to 1 or 2 languages, right? It's not so common. Maybe from Canada they need the French, right? So this is something that people adopt, especially our customers in EMEA. They are very kind of crazy around it because they want to have like several languages on top, and everyone is kind of especially if you live in Switzerland, you need to know all the languages there, like from German, French, and etc. So it's quite fascinating how our UX is done. So everything is very smooth, and you can easily navigate through the whole system without any type of hassle. And you can click one more. If you look at how we distribute the content, Sitefinity has those type of headless APIs, which allows you to deliver content to any type of channel, whether it's mobile, whether it's a separate front end, no matter what, we can support you. I think this is especially important paradigm because as we see when we talk about e-commerce, those type of headless delivery, it's important all over because you have 2 separate systems, and if you want to deliver the content and kind of blend it on the front end, I think we provide options. So we are quite happy with this. About the CDP and the customer data platform, I'll have a slide later and I'll touch a little bit on it, but basically this is our Sitefinity Insight. You gather the journeys of your customers, you analyze them, you can improve the messaging, etc. Yep. So if we see those 3 pillars, marketers, developers, and when we come to DevOps, we want those people to be happy in each of them. So if we start with the marketer, first things we need to make sure that, hey, we have ease of use. And this type of ease of use could start from, hey, can I use the latest and greatest technology like AI to help me out build content? Can I do drag and drop experience into the content editor? So I can see what is going to be on the front end in terms of WYSIWYG. Can I do a personalization on top of this? Because it's important. We see our customers are advancing more and more through the years, where they're not just developing the web experience, but they also want to have kind of a tailored experience for their personas and actually deliver the exact message and convert those customers. Because we see that it's people are getting kind of when they land on a website, they want to find what they need faster, right? They want, when they are, let's say, if I'm a developer and if I land on a website, start looking for some kind of technical content. I, for example, don't want to read high-level stuff. I want more of a details. So for me, it's very important to have those type of options. But on the other hand, our platform is designed also for developers, and we support any type of technologies and tooling around it and mechanisms where you can scaffold and deliver fast projects. Because it's not only important to support the technology, it's important actually to have a way where you can speed up the whole development and make sure that those guys are happy when they develop, and the marketers, they don't have a huge dependency on them. So we want those type of personas to be separated and operate in an efficient way. When we talk about our cloud solution, we are piggybacking on Azure. So everything that it's adding and we add on top of it, we kind of support it with Azure regions. And if you see, I mean, all of the bullets here, there is no need for me to read all of them. So this is my last slide before I go to some logos and present you a few customer cases. But basically, our Sitefinity Insight has been certified as a customer data platform by the CDP Institute this year. We are very proud, and as we mentioned, it's important for us to track journeys, to understand our personas, and actually to give the tools to marketers to operate through them, because this is how we deliver personalized messages to them, and this is the way how we can actually convert them as customers at the end. So just to give you a sense of some logo, here you go. And after this, I'm going to give the stage to Scott so he can do the demo stuff, which is more exciting by me telling you some facts. But here are a few customers that I just want to point out and give you a perspective about the capabilities that I mentioned and how they adopt them. For example, Kubota, they're probably, many of you have heard about it. They have like 350, I think, dealerships. They are down on Sitefinity. They have their website for the US on Sitefinity. Another one is Terex. They have heavy machinery, and their case is very interesting. They have a portal. They need to distribute their content on mobile app, and those guys that are operating those machineries are in kind of distant locations where they need to rely on good APIs, fast implementation, so they can get manuals how to operate with this machinery. So this kind of case representing our kind of strong side on APIs and headless implementation. Another one that I can mention here is RDO. They are reselling John Deere equipment. Every time when I go to the state fair and I see a John Deere tractor, I'm making a picture, and kind of a big fan of them as well. And maybe here we see on the top the Wagner case, and I think there is no need to mention since they are going to talk about this in the next sessions. So now I'll just hand it over to Scott and he can take it over.
Thank you. All right. And the other logos on the slide here are some of the clients that we've done some implementations for. We've got the largest Caterpillar dealer in Canada, Tormont. They're publicly traded and running about 10 different sites, and all of them are in Sitefinity. The logo that has yet to be mentioned is the one in the middle. American Air Filters is the site that I'm going to use to go through the demo that I'm going to do. We launched that site in Sitefinity Cloud at the beginning of the year, end of last year. And the big accomplishment there was they were quite surprised at the capacity that was uncovered to filter leads through to their sales team. So it came from being sifting through garbage to being 96% of a lead, if it came through, was a fully qualified lead ready to have a conversation. So it was pretty cool for us to get to work with American Air Filters, and we continue to support their environment, their ecosystem, and their digital experience. They came off of a very complex CMS, so we replatformed them into Sitefinity. And it was a journey to get through the UI and the UX project there. They were thrilled with Sitefinity. The reason that we became a Sitefinity partner is because it's both it's very flexible from a developer and from a designer point of view. You don't have to worry at all about what the page is going to look like when you're in that conceptual design phase. The right developers can put that together using the tools in the infrastructure to put together pages, templates, widgets that are all interchangeable. You'll see this as I get into the demo. And so I've talked about the results already, but there is a QR code there if you want to get the whole case study. All right, go time. So before I get into the demo itself, it was our goal when looking at the two platforms together that they should be an integrated, tight scenario that we're able to bring together. We've heard earlier about some of those challenges that B2B digital content managers and digital experience managers face. Every business purchaser is also themselves a consumer, right? Why do we not want that person who is interacting with our brand and is using our website as a tool to get their job done to have a great experience? And that's one of the strengths of Sitefinity, and we wanted to be able to showcase how this integration can really make that happen, enable that, and bring that to life. And that's what this is all about. Leveraging the fact that Znode is such a strong B2B commerce platform and Sitefinity is such a sophisticated CMS. And it is more than a CMS. It is a digital experience platform. It has Sitefinity Insight as a CDP, which I'll get to. The value prop of Sitefinity Insight there is that it unlocks an understanding of how to advance the ROI of your content. Am I getting the results, and we've seen a couple case studies about that already, that I want? Is there value in what my experience is, and how can I figure that out? Sitefinity Insight is the solution for that. So in our architecture, what we've done here, and take this away if this is something that your team wants to do as well, this was our strategy, is to take a hybrid approach and use Znode as the book of record. Use Znode for all of its power and order management and product capabilities, and use Sitefinity as the page builder, the content editor, and then embed the necessary parts of Znode into the Sitefinity experience to enable that. We're not quite at the single domain stage yet. I told the team to stop fiddling with things so that my demo had higher likelihood of not falling over. But we intend to be able to wrap that around Azure Front Door so that it's a single domain for the user as well. And then Sitefinity Insight has the capacity to monitor the experience across that entire workflow, regardless of whether they're on one system or the other. All right, so with all that, let's actually turn off PowerPoint. Okay. So let me start with the front end experience. So like I said, we took the American Air Filters website and used it as our demo environment. So we've got a very sort of lightweight implementation of what you would find if you actually went to their global website. This is the landing page for one of the industries that they serve. They provide filters and HVAC equipment and machinery They sell to large facilities as well as Home Depot, right? So I have AAF filters in my furnace at home, but so do many airports. And they wanted an experience here that was very rich, very engaging, very interesting, somewhat provocative. One of the cool things here is the interactive 3D render that lets you drill down on the facility and get into the specific use of the product within that particular scenario. And all of that, the render itself has to be provided by a digital artist, but the composition of these products and the content that shows up when I click through it is all managed in Sitefinity. So if they want to change it, they don't have to call us back. They can do that on their own. Here we start to get into that B2B commerce experience. So we've got a layout of a few products here that are relevant to that industry that might interest that particular buyer, procurement person. We've got some of the other digital marketing content here to help tell the story. So we're wrapping the product with more of that digital marketing best practice. And that's what we hear a lot is B2B commerce managers, they're enthusiastic and they know what is possible in the digital world, and then they get in front of the tool set that they've got and they're kind of like, well, okay, I'll work on my product descriptions, but they can't really build rich, immersive experiences, and that's what we like to solve for them. So in the bottom of the page here, I've just set up a couple of other pieces of demo content that to help with the demo here. So we've got one box that's talking about current promotions, and we've got another box that's talking about the launch of this new sensor. So at the moment, I am just browsing the website. I am not logged in. I could do that in a minute, which I'll show you. And I can click through to a current promotion, and it'll list a few products here. If I go back and I'm interested in this sensor launch announcement, I can click on this and I can see that there's sensors are the coolest and what I want to know about that one. As I come back up here, I can click on one of these products and get into the product detail page. I'll prove it, but all of this information is coming from Znode. Okay, so the list of products in that carousel is driven by Znode. This product details page is driven by Znode. These attachments are coming through from Znode. The product images are managed in Znode, but this is on a Sitefinity page. So at the moment, I'm just browsing. So I can't add to cart. As soon as I log in, a few things are going to happen here. So it is recognizing me as a user. And one thing that I'm going to point out here is we have changed the promotion because we know now we're personalizing it to the fact that this is an existing customer. They've got an account on our site. We're going to give them a better loyalty deal, 25% off instead of just, what are the current promotions. When I click through, we've for the sake of the demo, done a quick personalization to the title on this landing page as well. But the other thing is when I get into the product details page, well, now I can actually do some purchasing and I can add to a cart. And it is, I don't know if you noticed, it's now flipped over and it's on a Znode page. So we've inherited all the shopping logic from Znode at that point. We've handed back over to the e-commerce platform and we're out of the content experience. I can continue through. I'm not here to do a Znode demo. I'm here to do a Sitefinity demo. So I'll go back into the Sitefinity world at this point. So in the, this is Sitefinity. So in the back end of the system, when you log in, there's a dashboard here that shows you some recent content that you've edited, shows you a few other, you can manipulate this to show you anything that's going to be helpful to your workflow. Some people see just their own content. Some content managers can see what the rest of their team has done. But let's get into an actual page. So what I was going to do for this demo was I was going to build a new page for you and showcase an A/B test at the same time. So when I've duplicated the page, it's just asking me for some of my standard properties. So right here, the content editor can determine what they want to have show up in the navigation and add some of the other meta description for SEO and whatnot. So I have a draft page here of that sensor page itself. This is the sensor promotion that I quickly showed you at the beginning. You'll notice it's a little bit different than what I showed you when I was showing you the front end page. And that's because I've got an A/B test that was set up on that page that I duplicated. So let me show you how I did this. So it's a drag and drop UI. On the right-hand side, we've got the structure of the elements on the page, which is quite handy. That allows you to get really specific about setting the properties and layout that you're looking for. It's a distraction-free editor when I'm trying to click and modify the content itself. It inherits all the CSS and the rules that you've built in so that your team is kept kind of within the coloring sheet. You can always flip over to the raw HTML if you need to. And to a certain extent, we'll sometimes customize this editor for particular client scenarios. So there are certain formatting capabilities that may or may not be available. As I continue to sort of build out the page here, you can see as I move my mouse around, it's giving me opportunity to add widgets. So every time there's a gap in the layout, I get this little button that I can click, and that's where I can start to put the structure of the site together. So on the right-hand side, this tab pops out, and I can add in content elements, or I can add structure to my page. So if I add a section block first, by default it is a single column, but I can manipulate this and I can break this into several columns, and I can fiddle around with the width of those to my heart's content, and then I can start to add content elements within those particular sections. And I can drag things around however I want. So at the moment, I've got this layout that's got a video and a description, and it's got my, my product on the right-hand side. So this particular product display is coming from a content list. So this is an out-of-the-box widget in Sitefinity. And the first thing it asks you to do is say, okay, well, what kind of content do you want to put in this container? And I'll show you the content menu in a moment. But these are mostly built-in content types that come with Sitefinity, as well as some that we have added into the system using the dynamic module builder that are specific to American air filters. And so one of the things that we've done is we've added a Znode products module in here. So when I want to fill this content list, I could switch it and say, give me blog posts and put those in this list. Give me events. Give me my industry list. Give me locations. So in this case, we've got Znode products, and it's asking me, okay, do you want all of your published products, or do you want a particular selection of those products? And you can click the button here, and you can get and you can type in. Do a type ahead, and it will start to suggest products for you, and you can pick the specific product that you want to have show in that list. And then at the bottom, the template that I'm using to display on the screen, so my widget at the moment is prepared to render an image, a description, and the title. And so I showed you that you could choose which content type you wanted to have show up here. So all of these content types have their own fields. Descriptions, titles, events have start and end dates. So what do I want to map into the template to inherit the design that was set by the design team? So in the case of product, in the title slot, I want to put the product name. In the image spot, I want to put the product image. And in the description, I want to pull through the short description. There's some other paging controls here that you can set. I'm not here to do a full demo of Sitefinity, just to kind of highlight how this is working. So there you can see I switched the product that you can display in that image. And I've switched the image that you can display for that product. The whole product changed. And I can drag this around. I can move it to different places within the structure. It's showing me that element in the tree structure as well. So I can even drag it up and drop it in some ugly new spot over there. I can also move some of these other elements around if I want to change the layout of my site.
So Scott, sorry to interrupt you. Quick question here. So basically every type of product that we have in Znode could appear here, right? So
yes.
It doesn't matter for me. And basically if I'm not a if I'm a marketer and I don't know anything about how to connect, if the systems are connected, I can just go and customize this as the way I want.
That's right.
Okay.
Yep. So I'm really building, marketing pages. Now you can build the catalog pages this way too. It's quick. It's going to give you the listing. You're going to build that with paging controls and the capacity to click through to detail pages. But for a modern experience, you're going to have some landing pages. You're going to have some industry-specific pages. You're going to want to call out certain products based on seasonality and things like that. So this gives your content managers more flexibility to do all of that on their own. I've kind of messed up the layout of this page, thinking that I was a really good designer. And I mentioned that I was going to show off doing an A/B test. So that's a built-in capability in Sitefinity. So at the top it says I have this little button I can do to do A/B testing. So in this case, it's asking me to start building an A/B test. And I give this a name, and I can remind myself for the description if I want, the time frame that it's going to start the test, and I need to make sure that's in the future, and how long it's going to run for the rest of the week. So run the A/B test for a few days before you pick a winner. And you can actually target the A/B test at a subsegment of your audience. So I've already defined segments. That's probably a different demo, but there's a whole set of rules you can use to configure the segments you want to target. And so if I want to just experiment with my users, I can do that. And then it's asking me to give it a second variation and the weighting of how often it's supposed to iterate through testing the different iterations. The final thing is a goal. So why am I optimizing this page? What am I trying to achieve that's going to be improved by this layout? So it can simply be the next click. Where do I go next? It can be a form submission. So a lot of times you'll build a landing page, you'll gate your white paper, and the way you lay out that page or design it, you're like, I don't know, is it better to have a video on the page, or do people actually watch videos or not? Do they prefer to read? So you can have two instances of the page, one with and one without, and you can measure whether or not the form on that page got submitted. Or you can do it based on the completion of a conversion that's been defined in Sitefinity Insight. So I'll get to that in a minute, but that's what I'm going to do for this scenario. So the conversion I'm looking for with this particular scenario is I'm trying to get somebody to go to the product details page. I've got a landing page for my promotion. I've got a product or two on that page, and I want them to click to learn more, and I want to see which layout does a better job of getting me to that goal. So I set up the A/B test, and now it gives me the same page again. And well, this is and I can change the layout however I want. So if I want to say put the video to the right, put the product beside it, move my description up, and that might be a little bit tight. Let me just fiddle the padding on the top there. Maybe I want some padding all around. You can get pretty fancy with some of the layouts that you can get into here. So I've got a new version, looks a little cleaner. Maybe that'll work better. Maybe my original one will work better. I am going to publish this. All right, and I'm actually going to go and start my A/B test. All right, I am now going to pull up that page. There's a special control that the product was placed inside that gave it that fade-in animation effect. So I've got one layout here. Oh, I targeted it at logged-in users, didn't I? It'll alternate the layout of the page between those two designs that I showed you, and then it will give you reporting on the completion of the conversion inside Sitefinity Insight. I'm going to go back into Sitefinity for a moment, and I'm going to show a similar concept before I pull up Sitefinity Insight and take a few questions. So you saw on the homepage, when I logged in, that one black box of content changed. So down here, where I'm editing that page, I've got a little orange tab on that piece of content now, and I've got a little persona icon. I can click that, and it gives me my list of segments that I've defined in the system. And if I toggle between them, I can edit the content for that particular audience segment that is, and then I can edit the content for that particular user segment. And then when the site detects that particular segment, it will show that content instead. In the top left corner, there is the ability to preview this page as, and it gives you a little sort of trial testing sandbox to fiddle around with and emulate the user segment that you want to see, so that you can actually preview the page as if you are that user segment, because it's not always easy to place yourself into that audience segment that you're trying to target to. So this is a way to make sure that that's working. And then you can also fiddle around and say, well, I want to test some of the criteria and make sure the system is identifying me properly. So there's another tab where you can fake your IP address or your geography, the time of day, and it won't, and then it will respond to that. So some people will have different products in the morning or the evening, but it's the morning when I'm doing my job, so I can emulate visiting the site in the afternoon. All right. The other thing I wanted to show here is I mentioned that we had done this using a content type. So I was dropping widgets on the page, and some of them are just WYSIWYG content, but some of them are pulling content from a content module. And we've got this Znode products module that's in this list. That was achieved by using the built-in module builder in the back end of Sitefinity. So normally you're not going to let all your users into the administration menu. You can set up an access role for them to restrict that, but as an administrator or a developer, you can go into the list of modules, and these are all the ones that at Flywheel we have configured for American air filters and for the purposes of this demo. If I quickly show you how that works, I can do another demo list, and it is demo. it's going to ask me at this point to give that content type some structure. So what are the fields that I want to have available to this dynamic module? And it gives us some data types that we can use to start building this object. When I'm done, it will give me that object available here. So if I look at Znode products, and I can click what the module contains, here's the list of fields that we wanted to be able to have available inside Sitefinity. So that's a match to what you find in the product catalog in Znode. And the cool thing is, as soon as you do that, it adds it to the content menu, and it gives you a code reference for that dynamic module. So it lets you start working with that object programmatically as soon as you define it in the system. So when it's there, then our developers can start making API calls against that object and doing the work that we've done here in order to build that synchronization between the Znode system and this particular module in Sitefinity. The other thing that's great for developers is the concept of service hooks. So when you're trying to do these integrations, you want to get data and activity in and out of Sitefinity as well. You can call webhooks, you can fire events from Sitefinity for just about, well, I've never come across a scenario where you couldn't do this, and there's also a custom event that you can build at the end. But anytime a product is deleted or published or unpublished, or things change, you can fire a webhook, which is to send data to a URL, and you put in that endpoint that you've created. You can have some authentication as well, and then you can put in any header values as well so that you can connect to another external system to complete any workflows. So any orders that you want to come through, well, sorry, orders would come through on the Znode side in our scenario, but perhaps there's other lead generation form submissions that you want to capture. So from a developer perspective, so hopefully I've very quickly shown the capacity of the platform from a designer and a page builder and a developer scenario. I am going to very quickly show you Sitefinity Insight, which is in this tab. Okay. So as I mentioned, the value prop for Sitefinity Insight is that it shows you the value of your content. Am I achieving the conversions that I am seeking? And so Sitefinity Insight sits on top of the platform, and it can also track non-Sitefinity websites. So there is an embed code that will you can drop in, and it will start to pull this data through as well. The way that this works is you can set up personas in the system. I'm showing you our actual container here, data center for our own website. We want to know if there's a prospect looking for Sitefinity partner on our own website. And so I have some rules set up that help me identify whether or not that has come true. So I can tell the system, hey, if somebody visits our Sitefinity landing page, give them a few points. If they come from Sitefinity.com, give them a few points. If we have some blog posts on the site as well that have the keyword Sitefinity in them, give them a few points. Once we do that enough, I say, okay, the threshold for qualifying for this audience segment is 100, and I give you a few points every time. Sometimes you're immediately qualified. If you come straight from the partner portal or the partner listing on Sitefinity, I know you're a Sitefinity prospect. I don't need any more cues. So I qualify you right away. And now I'm getting data specifically for that audience segment. And I can actually see what conversions were completed, what touch points, which are the content on my website, were consumed by that particular persona, what topics of information they looked at, and I can actually get a list of contacts that completed that journey. The conversion itself is then a particular action that I've defined. So again, I have a similar set of rules to say what am I trying to achieve here? We have a page on our site where you can just use a calendar, find a time to book a call, and I can see from the sort of opposite side of that coin, well, which personas reached that conversion, what content influenced that decision, so that I can build a better user journey on my website. And so obviously there's a ton more I could be showing, but just to kind of whet your appetite, inside Sitefinity Insight, there's also webhooks, and there's an integration hub so that you can start to move data in and out of Sitefinity Insight, which is essentially a CDP. So when I have offline activity that's happening, I can upload my list of interactions from event attendance or some other sort of offline experience, or perhaps another digital experience. And as long as I have a unique identifier that matches my database, an email address, a phone number, something like that, it will include that activity as part of my wholesome customer engagement. So it's not just necessarily the digital stuff going on here, and then I can build workflows using the integration hub to then push that information back out to my CRM or my marketing, my email marketing platform, what have you. I think I've checked all the boxes. I was trying to make sure we got through. I was going to show one more thing, which was. Yeah, I'll leave it there. I was going to show changing data in the product catalog in the Znode backend and then proving that it shows up in Sitefinity. If you need that validation, come and talk to me.
Just quick question about the whole stuff that you showed. So you're saying that, hey, if you know that you import your contacts from let's say from this event into Insight, and after this they land on your website, can I personalize and say, hey, it's nice to meet you, we met on this event and we can do something for you? Can I do this?
So sorry, tell me the scenario again.
Hey, the audience here, we import them into Insight.
Yes.
And then on the website, if they land on the website and we recognize them that they come with some kind of, let's say, email or something, we figure it out that it's coming from Milwaukee or somewhere. And can I do a personalization and say, hey, it was...
Yes. Whoa. So yes. Once you've got that contact in there, then you can use the personalization that I showed. So I was showing some personalization that was just targeting quote unquote users, which were in my scenario, existing customers. So I mentioned that you can configure all the audience segments that you care about targeting in the back end of Sitefinity, and I can create a rule that says I want to be able to personalize for attendees of the Znode Grow event. And then when you come back to the website, it can identify you, then you get that specific personalized content.
Thank you so much.
All right, thank you.